Hello,
All right.
hello. You're live.
Welcome, everybody. We're actually live this time, so I don't need to wait around while the actual live stream starts and guess when that happens. So that's really good. Hopefully, you're enjoying both the new countdown that we initiated with today's AMA, and also what I forgot to shout out yesterday is the amazing new designs that we now have from Pablo, a former guest of the community call, and also the graphic designer of Nym. He's responsible for all the cool designs that we're running, and now community calls and AMAs and all the live streams also have cool designs. But anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. How's it going, Hux?
Going mighty fine, loving this Friday. Good energies. I got into super good working flows, which I'm getting out of now, but hopefully can channel this energy towards the AMA. Lovely. All good here. How are you, Sudo?
Doing great. Maybe we should do a quick introduction of who we are, because we
always
never actually
forget.
do that. Yes, exactly. And this, after all, is a new joiner AMA. So before we do that, actually, warm welcome to all of our new joiners to the community. We already saw a bunch of questions here and there on Discord, Telegram, also on Twitter. So keep asking them. Also, you can leave them in the chat here, in the live chat of the YouTube live stream, and we're going to be answering them. Hux, you go first. Introduce yourself.
Okay, hi guys. My name is Hux. I've been a contributor to the project over a year and a half now, I think, around since the first shipyard, and also a member of the Nym core team since this January as a UX researcher, service designer, and generally trying to make sure that operators, community members have a better overall experience around Nym tooling, and you can access the network and you know everything what you need to know to be a full community member using our tools. Was it good? I didn't practice. I just made this up. Still way to go, no?
No. I think you can repeat if you want. No, I'm just kidding. You can't. It's permanent. It's
And what about you,
online.
Sudo? Why are you here?
Yes. Hello, guys. I am Sudo, aka Simon. I've been working at Nym for over 2 years at this point. I'm head of community, and I'm here to bring you frameworks like NSL to involve you guys in reaching our mutual goals together, which is bringing privacy to everyone, everywhere. Was that good enough, Hux? Is there anything I left out?
Yeah, but you practiced a bit in front of the mirror, you have to admit now. Like there's the big mirror behind you, you're practicing this, was so good.
Wait, you can actually see the mirror? Okay.
Yeah.
To be honest,
Good.
I do practice a lot. This is the mirror I used to practice.
Yeah. So super
All right.
exciting stuff that we're doing because we've never done this, right? The new joiner AMA, and I think it's a good thing to do. So looking forward. What do you have in your mind, Sudo?
Well, I mean, by popular demand, it came up on our Telegram chat that we should probably do the presentation from yesterday once again, because it was kind of rushed. It was a speed run after all, so that was the objective from the get go. But maybe we could do it not in 12, but more like 13 minutes this time to give it a bit more detail. And then we can jump straight into questions. We can also, during the presentation, we can stop and answer any relevant questions that we saw. Yeah, maybe that. I don't know.
Okay, sounds good. No, sounds good. Let's do the speed run again. Less speedy. Nym 101 for new joiners, and then let's answer all the questions. And yeah, let's see how that goes. Cool. Do you want to share your presentation or?
Yeah, let's actually bring it on screen. Wait, which view is it? This one? No, not this. But wait, not this one.
Nice one. I can see it.
Thank you, Salazar, for helping out. All right. So, while this presentation is going, we're going. Sorry, Janice, not going to be a record speed run today, but you can check out yesterday's community call recording for that. We tried our best to hit a new record. This time around, though, we're going to go into a bit more detail with every slide. And also, if you have any questions about anything that is being said, you can already ask them here in the chat, and then we're going to be answering them.
Let's go.
Right, so, yeah, without further ado, next slide, please. So the slide deck is still the same. We thought about with Hux yesterday when we were putting together the slide deck. We thought about the 5 key questions that if we answer, it can bring you way closer to understanding what Nym does and how it works. In the fewest possible steps. So yeah, we're gonna keep the list of questions. These questions are where the Nym name comes from, because there's a lot of lore behind Nym, and probably this is the quickest way to arrive at that lore and explain it to you guys. What Nym does, we're going to be going into that in much more detail than yesterday. Why community is essential. After all, you are new joiners to the community, so you would want to understand why that's important. So we're going to be going through that as well. And also what the future holds for Nym. That's also a pretty important question. And then all the information regarding our channels and links to our documentation and all of that good stuff. If you look around on our Telegram channel, Salazar already shared yesterday the slide deck in a PDF format, and it was also shared by Mr. Smith, who runs on Telegram under the name Death Angel. So if you look at his welcome message, there's a PDF attached to it of the same slide deck that you see here.
But don't be intimidated by his nickname. He's the kindest person that I've recently met, so he's quite the opposite of the Death Angel.
That's very true. That's very true. If you look at the emojis in the name, then it already takes away the edge. So don't worry. All right. Anything I left out, Hux?
No. I'm ready to go on the Nym lore basics. Right. Next slide, please, or next two. Yeah, so where does the name Nym come from, and what does it mean? So Nym, surprisingly, means word or name in ancient Greek. So we kind of use it in our everyday language to differentiate between types of names. Anonym is someone without a name. A pseudonym is a chosen kind of cover name for your real name, which is also pseudonym. So your pseudonym is pseudonym. That's an adequate sentence to say. Paranym, for example, or synonym. And there's like a list of 20 other different names that sort of describe groups of names for things. But apart from this aspect, Nym is also a reference to the genre-defining cyberpunk sci-fi from the 80s, which is called True Names by Werner Vinge. It's a fantastic cyberpunk sci-fi. So if you like to read books about the early thoughts around metaverse and immersive reality and VR, and online magicians, coders, aka, then this is a book for you. And it also refers to Tim May's True Names essay from '92. And both Werner Vinge and kind of this book, and also more so Tim May, are very central figures to a movement that's called cypherpunk. Now, the cypherpunk movement originates from the 80s, originally around a cypherpunk mailing list, which was kind of an unknown mailing list that you could join and talk about all things cryptography, because cypherpunk is any individual advocating for widespread use of strong cryptography and privacy-enhancing technologies as a route to social and political change. So kind of the basics of the lore is coming from the cypherpunk movement, some contemporary sci-fi, and it's a big hats off to the ideas and vision of this movement that privacy is not just normal, but it's also a individual fundamental right, which can lead to significant social change. That was a longer version of the speedrun. I hope it was enjoyable.
Yes, very much so. And a bit more, like I did yesterday, I'm also going to add a bit more on top of the cypherpunk topic. So if you want to understand the Nym lore more in depth, then definitely look into the cypherpunk movement. It's not only important for Nym, but of course, the cypherpunk movement brought us privacy legalized, basically. Privacy, it was, or not privacy, sorry, encryption. So encryption, asymmetric encryption was basically banned in the United States, and it was the activism of cypherpunks which made it legal, which then put all of those locks all around the place, those little locks that you now don't even notice in your browser and in your chats when you're using a chat app. All of those little locks were enabled by the cypherpunk movement. Then, of course, the cypherpunk movement ended up bringing us Bitcoin itself. So on the cypherpunk mailing list, Satoshi shared the Bitcoin white paper. So this movement brought us a lot, and it is a pretty important sort of breeding ground for ideas such as Nym as well. And Nym's technology, which is a Mixnet, is also considered a cypherpunk technology.
Maybe one more thought here to add, because you also use the word or the term lunar punk, which is also not a spin-off, but it's building on the cypherpunk roots, but it's more a positive and affirmative future vision kind of lore, where it's no longer a desperate fight against an oppressor, where we want to ensure that cryptography is widespread and people have right to access strong encryption. It's more about imagining together how a society might thrive under a encrypted reality where privacy is a fundamental right, and that's what we explore in many other discussions and articles across the cyberspace. But let's go into the what does Nym do section, I think.
Yeah, that's a pretty important one. Let's get to it.
Yes. Next slide, please.
All right. So this is the solution that Nym is providing. The problem that Nym is trying to solve is that the internet is broken, and we say this as an easy way of summarizing the fact that both governments and also corporations are keeping us under constant metadata surveillance. This is basically the nature of reality these days. And the internet as an infrastructure fundamentally enables this surveillance. So it's very hard for you, the individual who's watching this video on YouTube, to do something against the infrastructure exposing you to surveillance, and also against companies having the established, very strong and deep business model of surveillance capitalism. This is the problem, and what you see on this slide is basically what Nym brings to the table to solve that problem.
Yeah, just one addition here, because I read an article this morning where there's a sentence, I'm just going to read it out. In 2021, Vice reported that the FBI purchased net flow data from a data broker claiming to cover over 90% of the world's internet traffic, meaning that the entire interaction, what you do online, everything is kind of recorded, packaged, analyzed, and then sold off to companies like the FBI, amongst, I guess, others. So this is very much true, and 90% was staggering for me to read. That's why I read it out here, because it's just a crazy. I mean, it's insane for me that everything, most of us that we do on the open, clear net is monitored and algorithmically analyzed.
Yes. So we do know about mass surveillance by the NSA, but these news that are popping up these days, which Hux also mentioned, but it's not only the FBI, by the way, but also internationally different secret services and other government bodies are basically purchasing the data that data brokers are collecting of you. That is kind of scary, right? So we need to solve this problem. How do we solve this problem? Do you want to go into that, Hux?
Yeah, so basically this data is mostly not your personal data, like your date of birth, your medical records, that too, and that's also, but that's kind of also protected in different ways, how you interact with applications, how you permit certain applications to use that data. But this data that we talk about is mostly your metadata, meaning the fingerprint of your digital communication. What kind of packages, to who, at which hours, through what applications and servers do you send? Based on this vast amount of data, it's quite easy to correlate what people talk to which people about what topics, and kind of the entire space is being digitized. So to prevent this, Nym is developing the world's premier privacy solution, as I like to say these days. This is the most advanced privacy technology, which is built on a Mixnet, which fundamentally aims to prevent metadata surveillance, right? So by using, you can imagine the Mixnet as a invisibility cloak or a shoe what you can put on, and it's gonna make you invisible in front of the street cameras. It's kind of making it by mixing the packets, encrypting them, sending them across different layers, and adding cover traffic to it. They kind of this entire effort obfuscates your metadata in front of the peeking eyes that constantly try to surveil and analyze this data. So this is the Mixnet. It's a multi-purpose Mixnet that prevents traffic analysis. And really, the most tangible thing how I imagine what the Mixnet does is, Sudo, how we get all these targeted advertisements. So, buy this pink fluffy tent because you're gonna go camping, and you just talked about this pink fluffy tent with a friend.
Yes,
And like, oh my,
I talk about pink fluffy tents all the
yeah, I
time.
know. And that's why I brought this example. But you think that your phone is listening to you. So your phone is not, it might be listening to you, but it's most of the case it's not directly listening and recording your voice to your friend. But based on your browser history, your search patterns, your online activity, it can really easily guess that you most likely want to buy a pink fluffy tent. So by using the Mixnet, this is the part of your experience that hopefully going to go away, that this company is not going to be able to analyze all your online activities on a large scale together with other people. Another interesting part, do you want to talk about the credentials a little bit, Sudo?
Yes. So privacy, when it comes to like securing your communications and dissociating your messages from their metadata from the perspective of an outsider observer, is just one thing, right? There's also the question of logins and providing private information. So the current paradigm, how we when someone asks, for example, the bank asks me to prove that I am me, right? Or maybe my school that I apply for and enroll in asks me to provide my details and prove that it's me. The current paradigm, how I do that, how I prove that it's me, is that I give them this dump of very personal information, such as my mother's name, such as my date of birth, my name, my like all kinds of like identification numbers, all of that stuff. And this paradigm needs to change. We have now the technology to change this paradigm through zero knowledge technology, right? And Nym credentials, also called ZK NIMs, based on the coconut credentials scheme, can so using this technology, you can prove that you own something, you are something, you bought something without providing any additional information. So as opposed to me enrolling in a program and providing all of my personal information, a ZKNIM enables me to just show someone the fact that I enrolled in this program, or I'm eligible to enroll in this program, without sharing any other information about myself. This is called selective disclosure, and this could revolutionize. I see this as a big revolution in how we handle credentials.
And just to give a very easy example of this connected to the Nym VPN, it's a similar logic that the Nym VPN uses. So whenever you're going to purchase a Nym VPN subscription, Nym is not going to know who purchased the subscription. You're going to get a credential. And with that credential, basically the only thing that the company knows when you want to connect your VPN is that either you have or you don't have a valid credential. Now, if you have, you can just put in the credential and start using the Mixnet and the Nym VPN, right? So as instead of the old paradigm where you have to log in and give all your personal data, and this is quite a novel way of thinking about how to prove ownership, as you said, Sudo, or access to something, or a certain age limit. And a very good example, you're gonna all be able to try it out when you get your hands on the Nym VPN Alpha, that the credentials work in this way. Let's talk a little bit. Yeah, sorry.
A different way, just to stay on this point a little bit, because this is important. So a different way of putting what Hugs just said is dissociation. So and a lot of VPNs, guys, just keep in mind that a lot of VPNs that are on the market and are very popular don't actually do this. So what happens when you purchase Nym VPN in the very near future is your purchase, which will, if you pay by credit card or some legacy means, then obviously that contains some personal identifiable information, but that information is fully dissociated from your usage of the VPN. And this is very important. This is one of the big risks when it comes to other VPNs, most other VPNs, I should say, that there's no guarantee of your usage being dissociated from who you are, and then basically you're using this tool to protect your privacy, but actually everything is going through this one server, which is not trustless, so you can't see and can't verify what happens on that server, which encrypts your traffic. and also that traffic is uniquely tied to you by your purchase. So this is kind of important.
Yes. All right. So let's make it a bit speedier run because we can talk about each of these points for long. But I'm gonna try and summarize in the next two aspects in kind of one. So the Mixnet is made up of Nym nodes run by anyone who wishes to run a node, and basically how we kind of measure the performance of these nodes making up the Mixnet, and how we reward these nodes for who are doing better versus who are doing not that kind of good job in terms of mixing and routing packets, that we need to use a accounting system, a distribute, and it's a blockchain that we use under the Mixnet, which is a layer 1 Cosmos transparent regular blockchain, which is there to handle reward distribution and performance measurements across the Mixnet, and not handle it, but kind of put it in the big book so everyone can see how the nodes are performing and what rewards they get and what transactions are being sent between nodes and stakers. And the currency that or the unit of account and measurement, or the what we use, is a utility token called the Nym token. The Nym token is the currency of the Nix blockchain and the currency of the Mixnet. So basically, Nym token holders secure the Mixnet by delegating their tokens to nodes that they like or which perform well. And by doing so, they increase the chances of those nodes being in the active set, being a higher chance to mix traffic and route traffic for internet users. So this is kind of the accounting side, the tokenomics side of the infrastructure powering the Mixnet. Want to expand
I
on
agree
it?
with you,
Or
Hux. No.
you can
Actually,
say that.
I agree with you. We could expand on everything for
Yeah,
forever, and
let's
start
go.
taking the not speed run very seriously. Let's take it a bit less seriously. So let's move on to the next slide, please. Yeah, so this is what Hux explained in detail about how the Mixnet works. This is a visual representation of that, right? It puts VPNs, Tor and Nym up against each other. As you can see, on regular VPNs, your traffic does get encrypted, so that's what happens in the middle with that single server which encrypts your traffic. But the patterns of your communication, which is the size of your packets, the order in which they go in and come out, and the timing of them when they come out from you and arrive on the other side, this is all consistent. And by this, someone who's observing the network from the outside can still see who you're communicating, still get our metadata. Basically, this is the shortest way of putting it. When it comes to Tor is of course a big step in the right direction. Tor has also multiple hubs, but those hubs always happen between the same nodes. So once you connect to the internet via Tor, the path is always the same. And since the packet size is and also their order is unchanged, for this reason, Tor also cannot protect you against metadata surveillance. And now when you look at Nym up top, what the Mixnet does, all of these unique packets go in with their unique properties, such as their size and order and timing, but the Mixnet shuffles them around in a way and makes them the same size. This is important. So all of them are the same size as they go into the Mixnet, and they get shuffled around in a way which makes it impossible from the outsider observer's perspective to tell which packet belongs to whom, and it makes it very difficult to surveil this network from the outside looking in.
And maybe one addition here, because with the Nym VPN, the upper graphic, how the Mixnet works, is extended with two other nodes. So right now, the Mixnet is still in the middle, still doing the same thing, but we basically do have a entry gateway under the Nym VPN's hood and a exit gateway. So it's basically sending it across 5 different stops with layered encryption and mixing it up in the middle, and also putting the dummy traffic in. So it's really a novel solution to protect your privacy. Let's go. Next slide.
Exactly. Yep. Next
and
slide.
the next slide.
Now moving on to community. This slide was supposed to provide a very short summary. So we could have gone into a bit more of the more complicated concepts like the squad wealth fund, which are also very important. But anyways, let's use this one anyway. So what is the role of the Nym community? So of course, the Mixnet that we talked about earlier is a decentralized system. So our beautiful, lovely community of operators is running this network. So it's also a permissionless system. So any node operator can, and anyone can become a node operator and spin up some nodes. So this, of course, is puts community in the absolute center of what we do at Nym. Now, also, there's when it comes to privacy and the cause of privacy, there's also an aspect of advocacy and raising awareness, and our community is also doing a lot of that, both in terms of privacy, the issue of privacy in general, and also the solution, of course, that Nym is proposing for that problem. So this is the goal of the Nym community in a nutshell. Actually, I think people heard me talk about the squad wealth fund and squad league a lot. So maybe
But
you can
there's
pick one
but
of
there's
them.
yeah, but there is a question with NSL. So maybe let's talk a little bit about the squad league and the wealth fund too. So basically, it's been in the works for the since you've been working at the company, I guess, how to empower the community and how to provide good contribution frameworks. And there has been some experiments, and this year it's a huge upgrade or a novel approach that we try to create a transparent and easy to follow framework for community contributions, which hopefully empowers community contributors to create value that's aligned with the mission of the company, and also to get rewarded for it on a quarterly basis. We have seasons in the squad league, and maybe the most important thing, that it's powered by the squad wealth fund. So that's the resource pool, or that's where the money comes from for completing tasks that create value for the entire community. And this fund, just very simply, it works in a way that we have a program called delegation program, where Nym supports fresh nodes to begin their node operating career and to start becoming involved in the active set. And all those rewards and the rewards which the company gets for staking onto these new nodes pool into the squad wealth fund. So basically funnel it back through the community is doing good work in operating in making new nodes and operating those nodes, and the rewards are also trickled back to the squad wealth fund, where it's distributed for other tasks than node operation, which is different community building exercises, covert missions, content creation, and etc. Where should someone look? Sorry.
Sorry, good question, and very relevant question from Jimmy. So
Yes.
let's start with that. So I'm gonna put it on screen. Thanks for the good question, Jimmy. And also, guys, if you have any questions, then don't be shy. Share them in the chat. All right. So how will squad wealth fund value be decided? This is a good question. It basically gets decided. So as Hux mentioned, we have an ongoing delegations program, which means that the Nym treasury delegates to certain mixed nodes of the network to support the community in bootstrapping operators to become profitable faster. Now, of course, if you delegate, if you go in and delegate your Nym tokens that you hopefully, fingers crossed, will get from the ongoing airdrop, if you delegate those tokens, you get staking rewards. Now, of course, in the case of the Nym treasury delegating, we are delegating 30 million Nym, which is a large amount of Nym. So there's a lot of staking rewards that come out of that, and we decided that those staking rewards will constitute the squad wealth fund. Basically, the treasury delegates tokens on the Mixnet, and then all of the staking rewards go into the squad wealth fund. So to answer your question very specifically, the value depends on the parameters of the network. This is the beauty of the squad wealth fund, because it always allows for exactly as much funding as the actual Mixnet parameters at the time allow for. So this is what makes the Squad Wealth Fund a sustainable funding model on our side, and this is what underpins the Squad League, which has this sustainable recurring way of funding. I hope that answers your question,
I have a
Jimmy.
question to you, Sudo, too. What do I do if I want to join the Squad League? What's my first step? Where do I go?
All right, wait a second. All right. So if you want to join the Squad League,
Yes.
maybe we should talk about the Squad League a bit first, or no?
I did start with that, my little chat overview, which is the contribution framework, but you can extend on it and yeah. So how does someone get started? How does someone get to know what the Squad League is and how do you get started?
All right, so there are some resources that we're going to be dropping in the chat, where the different roles that the squad league has is explained. Basically, these are ranks or levels of the squad league. Um, um, and also the task list of the squad league. But to answer the question specifically, what to do to join it, you need to fill out a form. You need to meet some basic requirements to join the squad league, which are just basically our way of checking that you're not a multi-account or not a Sibyl or not a bot. We want real people. I mean, say hi to the bots as well. We love the bots as well. But when it comes to hanging out with you guys and giving out tokens and all of that stuff, we try to make sure that that everybody who participates is an actual human being. So basically, the requirements are very simple. If you join the squad league, then you become a Nimster, which is the first level. As a Nimster, you get to do all kinds of basically you can start playing the game of the Nym community, which is about two things for Nimsters: contributing. Can you mute please, because Lizzie is
So sorry, it's just so sudden. So sorry, guys.
yes, Hux's dog is a very bloodthirsty and
Vigilant.
yes. So from the perspective of a Nimster, the things that you can do is learn about Nym and hang out with the community. That's one of the things that basically gets you some points, and you can participate in all kinds of fun activities. But also, already as a Nimster, you can contribute to Nym's objectives by completing tasks. The other thing as a Nimster, which is important to understand, is that there are some critical missions each season, and those critical missions decide the price, the overall price pool of the Nimster level at the end of the season. Now, moving on, so there are different things you can do as a Nimster and as higher levels of the squad league, because there are two more levels: Ninja and Shinobi. Shinobi is the highest level, and as a Ninja, you also get access to a list of grants, so you can do either recurring work such as managing channels and creating content and that kind of stuff, or you can take a bounty like grants for one-off work that you do. So that's basically the Ninja and Shinobi are the core community of Nym, our core community of contributors, and yeah, I don't know. I don't want to blabber on too much about this
Yeah,
because
I think we covered it well. I don't see any more questions, so we can just. Oh yeah, one question maybe from Anderson. Anderson, how long each squad league session last? And I think we can answer
yeah,
it easily because it's quarterly, so it's every
yes,
3 months. We learn and hopefully with your input, with the ninjas and shinobi's input, we strive to make it easier to use, easier to access, and just a better program quarter by quarter, learning
yes.
from the previous.
But also, there are some other questions from Discord and Telegram and elsewhere. So Andy asked, I don't have a squad and I don't have any idea about how to create one, considering that I'm not a dev nor a programmer. How could I create or join a squad? Which are the activities or tasks I could accomplish? So, right, very good question, Andy. Thanks for that. First of all, to participate in NSL, you don't need to be in a squad. You can be in a squad. That is why it ended up being called the Squad League. But you don't have to be in a squad. You can also contribute individually, and you can technically join a squad as well. So if you want to join one, then you can put out a call on our Telegram or maybe Matrix channel, and just tell the squads what you're good at and what you could contribute. Or maybe if you have a squad that you're familiar with and you like a lot, then maybe you could reach out to one of the representatives. This could depend on your region. This could depend on the types of contributions that squad is doing, whatever floats your boat, right? And then you can join in and work with them.
Just one more thing to add here, that if you're all alone and new here, the best way to get started is to come to these calls, to be active and nice in the chat, to be helpful, to ask the right questions, to sort of be visible in the community. There's so many channels and so many opportunities for this. So for anyone who is super new here and would want to show themselves and introduce themselves to the community, just come here to these calls, be active, be nice and kind to the others, and kind of try to show that what you're good in, and try to show your strength. Create maybe a good infographic explaining something in a new language, or try to summarize even these calls if they're super good. Some people summarize the content of this call. That's also super useful, and just post it there on any channel, and then people are gonna see, and then you have a lot higher chance of actually finding the right place for you in a squad, or creating your own squad, or just staying as a solo contributor.
Yes, and now as to the second part of the question, which is, Andy says he's not a developer nor a programmer, so that's totally fine. Again, squads and also individuals in NSL, you can contribute in any way you want, right? And as a Nimster, you don't even need to contribute. It's enough if you just hang out with us and empower the vision of Nym through just being part of the community. That's what the Nimster level is about. If you want to contribute, though, on the Ninja level, you can do all kinds of things. And I would say that there are only a few tasks that are and few grants that are very technical. So there's a dev grant available for those who want to build stuff. And basically that's it for now. So there's not a lot of technical tasks. You can find something for yourself even if you're not a programmer. All right, and maybe on this question, let's also mention that there are some tasks that are squad exclusives. So there are some tasks that only squads can do, but most of the tasks you can also apply for. Tasks and grants you can also apply for as an individual. So, but you can. So the list of missions and tasks was shared in the live chat. So make sure to check it out, because it is all shown. Whether it's squad exclusive or not. Say that 5 times fast. All right, I think we can move on to the next slide.
Yes, next slide.
So where are we, and what does the future hold for Nym? This is something I mentioned yesterday as well, and I will mention again. If you're just joining the Nym community, then strap in, because this is going to be probably the biggest year in the life of the project, because some really enormous things are happening. Namely the launch of Nym VPN, which I will go into a bit more detail later, but this will be the first commercial application making use of the Nym Mixnet. That will happen later this year. For now, what we're doing with the community is a bunch of large-scale network tests to make sure that all the I's are dotted and all the T's are crossed. Also, there are some finishing touches being put on the infrastructure binaries, and importantly, soon the last missing piece of the rewarding algorithm will also fall into place, which will be gateway rewards. So, like Huck said, there are 2 types of components in the Nym Mixnet. There are gateways and there are mixed nodes. These final touches that I mentioned of the infrastructure binaries is merging these into one. So there will only be one type of binary going forward. And gateways right now, as part of the reward algorithm, which rewards mixed nodes, gateways are not being rewarded yet, but it's coming very soon. So these are the final finishing touches on the network side that we're doing right now. And then, of course, the other big piece of news, which happened almost exactly a week ago, is that the Nym VPN Alpha, this is a closed alpha for now, came out. So we tested Nym VPN with some core community members in some very early release stages when it barely had a UI, and it was not where it is today. But now the actual alpha is out, so there is a release out. and we're providing access to it in batches to those who signed up on the list, starting of course with the contributors and friends and community members, known community members. But of course, if you sign up to the list, soon enough you will also have access to Nym VPN Alpha, and you can also test out Nym VPN for yourself. And now later this year is when the really big thing happens, when Nym VPN will get its full release on all major platforms, mobile and desktop as well. And of course, like I said, this will be the first commercial application of the Nym network, of the Nym Mixnet. And also, I would say that this is also a big step in the right direction for the broader fight for privacy as well, because something that was very hard to almost impossible to solve, which is metadata privacy, will now become accessible to a large number of people in a very simple, very easy to access, easy to use form. So that's the big thing that everyone is very excited about this year. Now I spoke too much, so I will leave the rest to you, Hux. What's happening? Do you even know? Have we spoken enough about it? What's happening with the community for the rest of the year?
Ooh, for the rest of the year, it's gonna be a super exciting road ahead because, as Sudo mentioned, with the Nym VPN, the network is gonna be put to test. It's gonna be real traffic with real users going through the Mixnet in growing packet numbers. So we actually hope or look forward to a rapid expansion of our high quality operator community throughout the year. Do you hear me well, or was that for me?
Oh, I can hear you.
Yeah. So this is when the rubber hits the road. Oh yeah. Did you say the same thing? Sorry, I zoomed out. So did you just left the last part for me, the community
No,
part?
I spaced out. I was sending some DMs. I left the last part for you. Yes.
Nice. Okay. So basically, as the rubber hits the road, the sort of the community will evolve with the network, and then the Nym Squad League will evolve following our company roadmap with new grants, new missions, and objectives. And one really important part is that we're really trying to decentralize the governance of the Squad League and the Wealth Fund. So basically, we're gonna take major steps ahead, starting with the currently already operational forum, where ninjas and operators can discuss and vote about simple things. And hopefully we're gonna move towards a on-chain collective governance, a DAO-like solution for the Squad Wealth Fund, deciding together where we and how we spend the Squad Wealth in the best way. And of course, one other important thing to mention is that for sure one mission or important part for the community members will be to advocate for the Nym VPN and to kind of start rolling out a Nym VPN affiliate program where we hope we can attract the right customers in the early stage for this advanced privacy technology. Was it a good summary?
Yes, I believe so. So make sure. The only thing that I would add here is that NSL is very young. So the full launch actually only happened in April with Q2 of 2024. So there's a lot coming. Not going to go into a lot of details, but there is a lot coming to NSL as well. Not all of that is coming from me, but a lot of that is coming from the community. So NSL is a framework which we build and bring to life together with the community. So the Ninjas, Shinobis, and also the core team as well are working quite hard on expanding NSL to brand new things in the coming seasons. So also stay tuned for that. All I'm going to say is that it's a good program to join, whether you just want to hang out in the community and take part in some quizzes and some other activities, or you want to start contributing in some major way. It's good for you to join.
I think it didn't say the best part in this, right? What's the biggest advantage? People get to hang out with us a lot and listen to you and me like a lot.
I wouldn't
isn't
say that's I wouldn't say that's a major.
Just kidding. Making a Friday joke. Yeah, we can go next slide.
All right. Now, actually, I think the next slide. Let's skip the next slide and then just go through all the questions that we have because
Yeah, quite a bit of them.
Yes, if you just take a look at at our main English Telegram channel, there's a nice little summary about the same, right? And also this slide deck was linked by Mr. Smith. So you can find all of these links that are here. I'm not going to waste too much time on this. These are all the basics of Nym. If you visit these links, if you join our community channels, if you read what's on the reading list, then you have a really good idea about both what's going on at Nym right now, which you can find out on our channels, and also the fundamentals of Nym, the technology, the network, its components, the token economics, all of that good stuff. So I'm not going to go into this in too much detail. Yeah, let's just address all the questions that we have. So this was the not speed run.
I mean, I think we can work on a middle version now, because this was a bit, I felt it was a bit too long, but maybe it was also good for guys. Let us know if this was a good pace, enough depth. Give us feedback so we know if we should shorten it or make it more deeper at some points. Anything helps, especially your critique. So if there was something you didn't like or didn't understand, please do let us know. Otherwise, we not gonna know.
Yep, exactly. Now so we're looking at all the possible places where we could have gotten questions. Oh yeah, we got one from, I believe this one is from Twitter. I don't know from whom, but the question is, how do I get the Nym wallet address? So it's very simple. You can download the Nym wallet, which only exists on desktop for now. So you can download it on Linux, Mac, or Windows. A link could be shared. Please, maybe Salazar or one of our CMs, could you please find a link to it, to the download, and drop it in the chat. So you download the wallet, and you can use it to create an address. And then maybe Hux, do you know I haven't done it in a while, and I can't remember how you can create an address with
Yeah.
Keplr.
Yeah, so recently we made a quite nice upgrade, I think, that to enable people who don't want to download maybe a desktop wallet or don't have a laptop or desktop maybe, you can also stake your Nym tokens by using a Keplr mobile wallet. So basically, if you ever used any crypto wallet, it's quite the same process. You go to the app store of your choice, whether it's an Android phone or an iOS phone, you download Keplr wallet. In the Keplr wallet, you should be able to find the easy settings to add the Nix chain. After adding the Nix chain and changing to that chain, you're gonna see your Nix address, which is also your Nym address, and with your Kepler wallet, either from inside the Kepler integrated browser or by going to the explorer.nymtech.net, you can log in and delegate your Nym tokens to a mixed Nym node of your choice, based on their routing score or existing stake parameters, etc. So it's easier than it used to be to create a Nym address now with Kepler.
Okay. Thanks
Do
for
mind though one thing, that if you want to run a node yourself, then you can only do it with the Nym desktop wallet. That's kind of the operator dashboard, if you wish, in a way. And I also see a question for how to run validators. I don't see it now. Yeah, so we're operating with a closed validator set, but there's a onboarding process. So if you're an experienced node runner or who operate other nodes, I think you can find the adequate channel on the I'm going to look for the adequate channel, but there's a email where you can reach out to us and express your desires of operating nodes, validator nodes. Sorry, I just read something else. There was another question.
Let's try to follow some kind of an order, because otherwise we're gonna.
Okay, not cherry picking anymore.
Yeah.
You choose.
Question from Jimmy. Why is there no mobile wallets? Do you plan to add it in the Nym VPN app? Those are two very good questions. I hope Hux knows the answer, at least to one of them.
Yeah. So what I just said in the PR answer, we kind of mitigated this lack of mobile wallet app with enabling you stakers to use Kepler to stake on the Mixnet, but also it's kind of we're working a lot currently to figure out what's the best tooling to provide to both operators and users. So most I'm not promising anything because I'm not in the position to do so, but most likely we're leaning towards a version where average users will have a mobile extension wallet, what they can use to interact with the network, whereas operators are probably going to be the only ones who might need to use the desktop wallet in the future. So it's definitely on our minds. We talk about this a lot, and there's many things to consider when we make such decision. On another note, if you're a developer who are comfortable with developing mobile wallets, you can also apply, I guess, for a grant to do so, developer grant. If you have a very concrete idea how would you want to do this mobile wallet, I think that's something that's also possible. But I'm not the best authority on this, but I kind of imagine that's
Just
the
reach out
case.
to me if you do have experience building wallets. Then reach out to me or Hux, and we can connect you to the right people, and we can look into whether we can scope a grant for you.
Yeah. Can I pick one?
If it's the next one, then yes.
Yeah, pick the next one. You pick. I don't.
So, Rocio, good question. Thank you. Do squads have a limit on the number of members? No, they don't. In fact, squads can also work together on stuff. If there's a mission that you don't have the capabilities to do, and you want to involve another squad or maybe another individual contributor, you can also do that. Squads are supposed to help you. We don't want to limit you limit you and your squad and what you can do or can't do. So yeah, no limit at all.
And also nudge to existing squad leaders and squad members, to try and maybe I'm not sure because I don't really see these conversations, but I just want to encourage everyone to talk about from time to time about their own squad. Maybe they find new members like that. It's a kind of don't gather only in the shadows and work together with the three people that you already really know, but kind of try to be open and inclusive and invitive at some points. And then it's up to you to decide, of course, who you have on your squad, but also just to facilitate, maybe they're more shy community members or more introverted community members, who don't dare to hey, I'm this big cool person, put me in your squad. But in most cases, some of the best developers and more focus work kind of people are like that. So make sure to think about that from time to time, and maybe try to do some tiny competitions or just expose that you're a squad and you need a Rust developer, for example, for some smart contract stuff, or whatever. It's just a friendly nudge.
Okay. Thanks for that answer. Let's keep them a bit more snappy because I wanted to go to a meeting in 8 minutes, and we have quite a few questions to go through. Rocio, another question from Rocio is where we can find out more info about squads. There's a squad hub link in the live chat. You can check that out there. The list needs updating, and I'm going to prune it from inactive squads as well. So keep that in mind. But you can see the list there, and probably if you ask for squads to introduce themselves on one of our channels, then probably some of the people will jump in and tell you what to know about their squad.
Also, just an alpha that we're really hoping that we're planning to put a squad highlights on the community page. It's not there just yet, but also expect that we're gonna be showcasing our best and brightest squads directly on the Nym community page. So that's also coming.
You heard it here first, guys. All right, so we have two of these same questions once again from Rocio. Can the missions like creating content be only for Spanish? And we also had the same question from Anderson as well, which is let's suppose I'm an active member in Portuguese Telegram community because I don't know how to speak English. Would it count for NSL ranking as well? Yes. So NSL, to the best of our abilities, is a global system. So all of the stuff that you can do in English, you should be also able to do in your own language. So yes. And now one question that I skipped, we're going to answer in a diplomatic way. Wait, sorry, not this one. This one. So obviously, guys, we're not here to speculate about the Nym token price. Nobody knows, and it's not really a good practice to speculate on token price, right? One important thing to understand though is that the market mechanisms will change quite significantly with the launch of Nym VPN, because this is public information, so you can we share this in various places, so you can look it up. But the gist of it is that we're going to be purchasing Nym tokens on the market, right? From the incoming fees that users pay for Nym VPN. So this kind of changes, reshuffles the dynamics on the market. So changes is very likely, but of course, the exact value of that change, we're not here to. Nym is a utility token. You shouldn't buy it for investment purposes anyway. But the market dynamics with the launch of Nym VPN will also change quite significantly. I can already tell you that. And on a systemic and ongoing way as well. All right. Yeah. So next up is the question from Ion AI. I'm not sure about the answer. This is a really good question, but I'm not sure about the answer to this one.
I can try and give an answer to it. It might not be the entirely full and correct answer, but on
We
a
do need
high
to still the
sorry?
question. We do need to read out the question for those who are just listening.
What is
So
the packet or message architecture in the Nym VPN? Like, how does bandwidth or WE translate to number of messages across the Mixnet? So if you use the VPN on the 5-hop mode, it exactly works as in, it works close to what's in the white paper and the technical documentation. So it's basically a Sphinx multi-layer Sphinx encryption stuff, which gets packaged first in an entry gateway, then it's gonna send through the 3 layers of the Mixnet and reassembled at the exit gateway and sent to the application that you're using. Now, as far as I'm aware, in the 2-hop VPN mode, to beef up the speed and sort of get rid of the technical components that doesn't really make sense when you're skipping the entire Mixnet part, it's either already a bit simplified or going to be simplified to win a lot more on speed and without having to put too much unnecessary encryption or cryptographic work onto the packets.
now, one thing to mention here is that bandwidth, if you're asking like on the device side, how much bandwidth you're actually using and how that translates into messages on the Mixnet, like Huck said, there's the packet format to be considered here. But it's important to know that one of the things that the Mixnet does is also adding cover traffic. So not only real stuff that you're actually sending and receiving, but also fake stuff that nobody's sending or receiving is being sent between the clients of the Mixnet, which makes it very, very difficult to know from the outside which packets are real and which packets aren't. So this is the additional getting lost in the crowd sort of mechanism that exists on the Mixnet for your communications. And this, of course, adds bandwidth to each client, right? So this creates an additional bandwidth requirement because there's a bunch of fake information, fake packets flying around in the Mixnet.
And what I would just add here that there's an insane amount of academic and research and background sort of engineering and research work being put into fine-tuning these attributes of the Mixnet, like the amount, frequency of dummy traffic, for example, like how does the architecture best serve the use case and the users that's going to be using it through Nym VPN. So it is really, really, truly complex and a very novel challenge because no one has done it before, and now it's getting being built live with live users with real application on top. So I think it's a super exciting and truly innovative case of how smart people try to make the best of something that we don't really know how it works because it was never done. So it's really an amazing journey just to be part of it from here even.
All right. Next up, also from Ion AI. Do you expect VPN providers to become competitive with Nym? I do expect it, and I really hope that it happens. That's going to be a major win for everybody, right? If we can elevate the level of privacy available to everybody, whether it's through Nym VPN or through other VPNs, that's a massive win for the cause that we're here for. Obviously, I will say, of course, that we have some very high standards when it comes to privacy technology. Mixnets are not like very common especially like the very specific implementation that we have are not very common with other VPNs. I doubt it that anybody could come close to us. I'm saying that as pseudo. I'm super bullish on Nym, obviously, so you should take it with a grain of salt. I do expect and hope that VPN providers will become competitive with Nym, and I do expect and hope that those who aren't will go out of business because the level of privacy protections required from consumers will be elevated by Nym and everybody who wants to compete with Nym. That's my hope, and then everybody wins. So that's a good thing either way.
Yeah, well, one more thing to add here that because you answered the question like if do we expect NimVPN to become comparative with other VPNs? I think you answered that first, not the other way around. But like kind of, I think what I want to answer that, or not sure, but what I want to add here for sure is that current VPN providers are already working on similar, like to solve the metadata monitoring challenge. Other VPN providers are also brewing stuff, and I just read that, for example, Mulvad is using a data. I'm not even sure what is it, but it's kind of also like a dummy packet obfuscation method, adding fake packages between your own packages. So it's kind of okay. That's definitely happening.
Yeah. So again, yeah, they will become competitive, and we hope that they will. That's a major win for everybody. Moving on, I think we can go over a little bit, although I do have that meeting, but I think everybody who I would have that meeting with is in the audience of this call now, so they understand that I'm going to be late. So, all right, moving on to a question from Sashin, who we don't know at all. I don't know who this guy is. When PS5 app? Do you know anything about the PS5 app?
Yeah, I'm gonna whitelist your session for the PS5 app. Don't worry, you're gonna be the first to know when it's out. Happy Friday, friend.
All right. Oh wait, Hugs, do you have to go?
Yes, I do have to go, and it has been. You can stay here and answer the questions. I mean, I'm just gonna jump off. Thanks guys for having me for being here for the good questions. Wishing you a fantastic weekend. To you too, Sudo. See
Okay,
you
you
next
will
week.
not get your pull-up then. I'm sorry.
I'm
Sad.
I'm gonna reach out to Sal and maybe ask for a sneaky
No, no,
link.
no exceptions. No
All right.
exceptions. Uh,
All right. Thank you, Sudo. See you guys.
catch
Ciao, ciao.
All right, so I'm going to stick around because we have a bunch of good questions from elsewhere, and we went through all the YouTube questions, but we have a bunch of good questions from elsewhere as well. So I'm looking in the chat. John Smith, who we've already mentioned before, thanks for the question, Mr. Smith. I think ZK-NIM is a great piece of tech, but what is the easiest way to understand how it works? Dude, I don't know. ZK in general, so all zero knowledge technologies have a tendency of making you feel absolutely stupid. At least me, I'm not a very technical person, so I can't go into the nitty gritty. Maybe the simplest way I can explain ZK NIMs is that is that um, is via selective disclosure, right? You have a bunch of information that is required for various different reasons, right? But very often it's the case that that not all of that information needs to be shared with everybody, right? Maybe actually one of the examples that we didn't bring up when we discussed ZK NIMS was the COVID passport thing. So from the perspective of someone scanning your COVID passport, what they need to know is whether this person has COVID, has been vaccinated or not, and has tested negative in the past like 24 hours or not. Right? This was the thing with COVID passports. But how we do that these days, right? How COVID passports worked was that here's this QR code, and that QR code led to a reference in some database, and a whole bunch of personally identifiable information was there about you, your name, your this and that ID number. It varied by country, but a whole bunch of personal information was there in that database. Now the paradigm of ZK NIMS, instead of this, if a COVID passport worked on, which we also proposed, by the way, we created a proof of concept for this, a COVID passport based on ZK NIMS. If you show that, right, all this person knows is verified by a third party that you have been vaccinated or you tested negative in the past X hours, right? But nothing else, not even your name, nothing else, because that's all they need to know. So maybe this is the best explanation. And if you're interested in the technical nitty gritty of ZK NIMS, I'm not the person to ask. Maybe bring it to our Element channel, and hopefully Claudia, for example, can help out, or maybe Harry, with the very technical details. And All right, so this I don't know. This is probably also from John Smith because there's um no name with it. So question: mixing traffic is great, but how about protecting other metadata like time zone, DNS, various fingerprints? Isn't it doing anything about it? Well, that's a very good question. So um, I don't know where like time zone would be collected by someone observing the network. Um, what Nym is doing something about is like the direct communications metadata of your connection, right? Which I believe also includes DNS. I'm not entirely sure about this. Actually, this is a bit above my head. Fingerprinting is something. It's not that's not a metadata attack. If I'm not mistaken, so fingerprinting is something um, that based on how you're using a certain website, your patterns of using a certain website is creating a fingerprint, like it's identifying you based on that. I believe that's fingerprinting. So Nym cannot protect you against that, right? What Nym protects you against, maybe a better way of putting this. Is GPAs, right? Who global passive adversaries who can observe the entire network and all of its nodes and every connection in between those nodes, right? So those it can protect you against. Fingerprinting attacks, I believe, are usually a bit more personalized. They can also happen from the on the level of even your router or some other like larger router in the network, um, like nearby from the network perspective to your device. So I don't think fingerprinting is something that the NIM network can protect against. So NIM and NIM is basically a piece of the puzzle when it comes to the privacy tech stack. There's a whole bunch of other ways. So for example, if you use NIM but you log in with your Google account and you don't use any ad blocker while browsing the internet, your privacy is still compromised. So it's not like NimVPN will solve all of your issues when it comes to privacy and protect you from all possible attack vectors, especially personalized ones like the Pegasus malware, which is like personalized targeted attacks. But it's like a really good start, and it's like a very strong fundamental protection against a metadata surveillance, the most common way of metadata surveillance. All right, hopefully that answers your question, Mr. Smith. And what else do we have here? I think we're done, guys. I think that was it. That was all our questions. Um, yeah, that was it. All right. Well, on that note, huge thanks for everybody for joining. Hopefully this was a bit more relaxed than yesterday's presentation. Hopefully it was not too long and boring. Hopefully you guys had a bit of fun. It was lovely to hang out with you. So as for the POAP for today, you need to go to the same link that you always need to go to. So this is a new joiner AMA, so I will spell it out for you. It's nimtech.net /go/POAP. Please share it. Yes, you can see it in the chat as well. And the password is going to be, okay, you know what? You can guess. I think it's kind of easy to figure out, or like you could figure it out. Guess the password. I'm looking at chat. What could be the password for a new joiner AMA? Whoever guesses it, I will come up with some gift. No, that would be a joiner. No, Nym would be nice, but no. Okay, 3 more guesses. Come on, guys. No more guesses? All right, I'm gonna tell you then. Noob. The password is noob. That was pretty obvious, no? All right, so use that as your secret phrase. Big thanks for joining us today. Have a lovely weekend, everybody. I realize that this was a Friday event, so thanks for spending some time of your Friday with us. See you next week, hopefully. And if you have any questions about anything that was discussed, once again, I would like to ask everybody to please keep the conversation going. Hopefully, we'll see some new Nimsters joining NSL soon, and yeah, it was lovely to meet everybody.